on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
And a good Monday, everybody. Welcome in. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chase McCabe with you on this Monday, and it is very much a Monday. Kind of running around like crazy this morning, but you know what? That's okay. That's what we do sometimes. Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. What up, Nick?
Hey, how we doing?
I am hanging in there. Ready to rock here on this Monday. A lot to get into, and you know what? Thank the good Lord. Training camp is here. The Titans will get things underway this week, so really looking forward to that. As they'll hit the practice field, we'll see DeAndre Hopkins and see everybody coming back, hear what Mike Vrabel has to say, and maybe we'll get an idea of exactly how good this Tennessee Titans team is going to be. We'll talk to Jonathan Hutton at 9:30 today. He'll join us for his weekly visit, and then John McClain from Houston at 10:30. Of course, I had to get John on the show after the Oilers unveiling, so I got to get his thoughts on that, plus D-Hop and other things going on. But it was a good weekend. Relaxed a little bit, which I think we all kind of need as we get ready for this drive into training camp and the hustle and bustle. I mean, what was funny is I was kind of having a conversation with somebody about this, that there hasn't really been a down period like you usually see in the summer, because we had the NHL draft. Obviously, I do a lot with NASCAR, so the NASCAR weekend. We'll have Grand Prix coming up. Last week was SEC Media Days in our city, so there's been a lot going on that I feel like has moved this summer along, and now here we are at training camp.
It's almost like the vacation was the vacation to, I guess, cover everything. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. I mean, that's kind of how it felt, but we keep moving, and it is time now for the Pulse.
Bringing you Nashville's most trending topic.
You can make some noise for that.
It's the Pulse.
The band.
Now with Chase McCabe.
Indeed it is. The trending topics, not only in Nashville, but just about everywhere. Wes asking if I'm all right. I sound exhausted. I ran in here. I was clipping something real quick and then had something else pop up, and I literally ran in here. So, yeah, no, I'm good. But the first one being, finally, after teases and speculation, and we all kind of knew it was coming, but they had fun with it. The Tennessee Titans have unveiled the Oilers uniforms, and I thought the video that they did was cool. It had Jeffrey Simmons, Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Kevin Byard. They were all featured in it, wearing the Oilers drip, the oil drip as they call it, but the old Houston Oilers, Tennessee Oilers look, the Columbia blue. And this was a snippet of the video that they posted on TennesseeTitans.com.
Over the years, certain teams have developed tough guy reputations.
Add to that list, Steve, the newest bullies on the block, the Oilers.
House of pain, baby!
Here goes Harold Campbell. Boom, goes deep. As a man, touchdown! Touchdown, Oilers! But there! Oh, my goodness! Heading towards down the left sideline. They won't catch him.
If you were part of that team, you'd know why. If you weren't, you'd never understand.
And so at this point, this is when it has the current players wearing the uniforms, and it's such a clean look. I mean, it just a classic look. The white helmet. There were a couple of iterations of the Oilers uniform. You know, the Titans, this is not the first time that they will have worn an Oilers uniform since they've been the Titans. They did it in 2010 with the AFL anniversary, but that was the all powder blue, the powder blue helmet with the white oil derrick. This one, to me, is the one that I always remember. It's the most iconic. They added the red face mask. The red face mask, to me, makes it with the helmet, but it's just a slick look. And so they're supposed to unveil, I guess, in a couple of days what games. They're going to wear 2 games. And this is – I didn't know they were doing this, but this is replacing the light blue Titan jersey.
I know when the Titans would go to Miami or just like an away game, they would always wear their baby blue jersey with white breeches. So That could be the good alternative, and I kind of like that.
Yeah, I think they tried to work it out where they could wear it on a road game in Miami is what I was reading, but I guess that fell through, so they're going to do 2 home games here. I would assume the Texans is one, and then they'll announce another one. So I'm excited about it. I think I think it's a cool look. They might have made a little bit too big of a deal of it, but whatever. I mean, you got to have fun with it, especially get some hype leading into training camp. There's a video on Instagram that has the guys in it, and they FaceTime Eddie George, and he's like, oh, that's awesome. And it's like, for somebody that remembers when they came here, it's cool because it kind of blends it all together. And I know there's some people that are like, we're the Titans, we're not the Oilers, but they were. I mean, they started as the Tennessee Oilers, so that means we'll bring back the Ronnie Dunn theme song that I heard the morning show play it earlier. Keezer played it earlier, but so the Oilers jerseys finally revealed, and we can move on with our lives, which we move on in the Pulse to the Open Championship. Brian Harmon, a Georgia boy, wins the Open for his first major, and he caught up with Mark Schleybaugh of ESPN after the tournament yesterday and just talked about his win.
I just had a really good frame of mind this week. I knew that it was going to be tough at some point, and just tried to bear down, and making a couple birdies on that front nine helped settle me down, and just really got after it on that back nine.
I mean, he pretty much ran away with it. He was 13 under, and there was several guys at 7 under behind him. So I mean, he had to really have a collapse to not win it. But pretty cool that he's a guy from Savannah, Georgia, went to the University of Georgia. So the Georgia Bulldogs living good right now. 2 back-to-back national championships in football, and now they got a guy win the Open Championship.
Living high on the hog, as they say. It's interesting looking at the Sunday the Sunday matchup for him, because the weather was not in his favor. There was a lot of rain. It was just wet. And it's not that easy to play golf in that type of condition. I actually played golf recently with my dad. He invited me out to the Hermitage. And
it's a great place.
It is a very nice place. Played the Generals, didn't play the Presidents. But, golf is a very difficult, mind-boggling sport.
Oh, it is, and I'm terrible at it. But it's fun. I do enjoy it, like when I go out with buddies or whatever, and we have a good time. But I don't pretend to be very good at it. Even though we did our second annual Music City Celebrity Golf Tournament at the President's Resort at Hermitage, and I was with a group that include our GM Sean Fort, our former GM Dennis Guazdon, our owner Bud Walters, and then a bunch from the Predators, and they had me take a putt that was like a 30-foot putt, and I sunk it. So I'll take that. I'll ride off into the sunset with that. And
putter drop. Yeah,
there you go, for sure. Also in the Pulse, the Baseball Hall of Fame yesterday, and I was excited about this class because I always respected Scott Rowland. Great player. He goes in. But then as a Braves fan, the crime dog, Fred McGriff, gets in. McGriff was a big part of those teams in the early 90s that really put the Braves on the map, that got them to the superstardom. They won the World Series in 1995. Crime Dog was a big part of them, and just building that foundation. And so that was really cool to see. And he talked about getting the phone call that he had finally been voted in, and goes in and to back into the living room and everything. And I just thought that was really cool that those two guys, because those are two baseball guys that they really deserve it. And of course, every year, when you see guys like that you knew were on the up and up and everything during that era, the debate always arises, should the steroid guys get in? I think they should. I mean, you can note it that they were suspected of using steroids, whatever makes you feel better. But, I mean, Mark McGwire and Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, I mean, they were guys that, yes, they cheated the game, but they would have gotten in anyway. So I know it's a sensitive subject, and it's a debate, and it'll always be a debate, even if they do get in, and I think they will one day. But Pete Rose, I mean, there's a lot of different debates with it, but Congratulations to Fred McGriff and Scott Rowland on being inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. And then another one that we're going to spend some time on because I think this is certainly interesting, and there's a lot of different opinions on this, and that is running backs. And are they being devalued? Are they being underappreciated? Like right now on ESPN, it says, are running backs being treated too unfairly? Well, there was a Zoom where a bunch of backs got together, and they talked about the financial state of the position. This included Titans running back Derrick Henry, but it was Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs was there, according to Jeremy Fowler. And so they all got together and kind of talked about where things are with the running back market right now. Kimberly A. Martin of ESPN talked a little bit more about what took place during this Zoom.
They got on the call clearly because none of them are happy, and deservedly, understandably so. But when I called people around the league to get a sense of reaction to it, there were two schools of thought. One was, yeah, this call really isn't going to do anything because, look, the tag deadline came and went. There's really nothing that these guys can do from a leverage standpoint. But here's another school of thought, which is, you know what, if this isn't just a one-and-done call, if these guys are actually open about their contract negotiation process, about what teams say to them, if these guys get together and are transparent about salaries, if they say, well, the teams are using our wear and tear, the proverbial tread on our tires against us, how can we as a collective get together and combat that?
That was Kimberly A. Martin reporting on that. So we'll continue that discussion. Do you think that running backs are devalued, or is it simply just supply and demand? We'll discuss that, take your phone calls and texts on that on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com, 615-737-1025, 615-737-1025. It's Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Always on the go? We've got you covered. Download the Game Nashville app from your app store and listen to us wherever you are.
Robbie Stanley, Joe Rexroad.
It's Chase McCabe.
Caroline, Willie, D-Mays.
Dominic Cavity.
We are Nashville's best sports talk.
Good station. I listen to it all the time.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey guys, it's Mike at Newton Nissan in Gallatin. As these summer days get longer and warmer, premium coffee drinks, snacks, and pretty Nissans in the showroom for you to look at. And we even have convenient Saturday hours, so you don't have to enter up a work day or a summer fun day with the kiddos. You can easily make your service appointment online at newtonnissan.com/schedule-service. That's newtonnissan.com/schedule-service. Valid for Nissan vehicles only. Up to 5 quarts of oil. For more than 5 quarts, just add $5. If you've got a larger truck like a Titan, the price is $54.95. No charge for air conditioning while you wait. Also,
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment, the #1 rated tractor brand for durability and owner experience in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now at participating dealers, get a Kubota compact tractor for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months, plus save up to $800 on qualifying implements. Now through September 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com/disclaimers for full disclaimer.
Hey, it's Jared. Want to tell you about Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hiller is keeping you chilling all summer with special deals to keep you relaxed and happy this summer. Tackle those necessary home system replacements this month to take advantage of these special deals. When you purchase a select new HVAC system, you'll get 2 Yeti Trailhead camping chairs, a Yeti Panga 28L waterproof backpack, a Yeti Tundra 75, and 2 Yeti tumblers for free. And get special freebies on Yeti products with every new whole home generator or tankless water heater purchase. That's Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Are you drowning in credit card debt? Want to get cash out of your home's equity? Loan Pronto can do it now in less than a week. Hey, Willie Donick here. That's right. Loan Pronto's Equity Express line of credit just got even faster. You can get $50,000, $100,000, even $200,000 in as little as 5 days. You don't even have to touch your primary mortgage. You can keep that 3% rate intact. Get just the money you need and pay off all those credit cards or get that home improvement project started. With this revolutionary program, you can access up to 90% of your home's value, and in most cases, there's no appraisal. Stop paying insane interest rates to the credit card companies and get tens or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in cash in as little as 5 days. Call Loan Pronto now for the even faster Equity Express line. 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. 615-499-5780. Equal Housing Lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
All the big plays.
And we are done. Vandy 24-21.
All the big stories.
I'm sure Vandy will be a much better team if Clark Lee is the coach.
All in one place. We are Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3.
What a stop by UC Sarah.
Then he wouldn't end up on my team.
Driving his way to victory lane.
I think that's the right strategy.
The Game and the Game Nashville app. Chase McCabe is on.
I am not that guy you think I was.
102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
Well, I mean, right now it's just talking. There's really nothing we can do. We're kind of handcuffed with the situation. But I mean, I feel what I took from it, McCaffrey and Derrick Henry and Saquon all had a lot of good points. But the biggest thing is that we're in a position that our production hurts us the most. You know, if we go out there and run for 2,000 yards with so many carries, the next year they're going to say, you know, you're probably worn down. That's the biggest thing that I took from it. It's tough. You know, it hurts us just to go out there and do good. It hurts us at the end of the day.
That was Browns running back Nick Chubb talking about the Zoom that running backs took place in I think it was yesterday. It was sometime. Saturday is when it was. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3, The Game, broadcasting live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. Hope you're having a great start to your Monday. But I found this interesting that, you know, they're coming together. Derrick Henry's talked about it some and tweeted about it some. I'm sure it'll come up this week whenever he addresses the media and his thoughts on it. But it was Nick Chubb, Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, and also Austin Eckler, who has been, you know, very outspoken on his deal and running backs not being paid. The problem is that I don't view this as they're necessarily devalued. I view this as there's a lot of them. Now, there's a difference in Joe Schmo running back and Derrick Henry. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, there are special running backs at that position, guys at that position, and then there are the regular guys that can just, you know, eat some yards for you and what have you. That, I think, is where the differentiation needs to be, because I feel like that, you know, there are guys that, look, the Titans don't have the success that they have if they don't have Derrick Henry, and I don't think anybody will argue that. That's the bottom line. Derrick Henry this year is going to make $10.5 million. He signed that deal a few years ago. That was what was it? 4 years, $50 million, and half of it I think was guaranteed. Now, look, I don't think that's an awful deal by any means, but so he got his. But I mean, there are other guys that kind of look at it as, I think it was Eckler said that there were some backup. There's like backup receivers that aren't even starting receivers that make more than he does. I can understand being pissed off by that, and they have an argument. But the problem is, what teams will tell you is, well, you're right and you're special, but I can go out and I can get a guy to run the football and work in our offense and, do it by committee and be just as productive at a cheaper price. And so they're looking at it that way. They're not looking at the guy. They're not looking at the player. They're not even looking at the production. They're looking at the money. And that's what it is. And, even though these guys take it personally, and they should take it personally, I get it. From the team standpoint, it's not. And so that's kind of where it is, and I don't see it changing. I thought Corey Curtis gave a really good answer earlier this morning when he was on Robbie and Rex Road when he was asked about the state of the running back market.
Unfortunately for these guys, there are a lot of talented guys who can carry the football. And it's not about the position and how much you're respected or disrespected. It's about how easily your production is replaced. It's why they don't draft a lot of them in the first round, because you can replace their production with a lot of guys from a lot of rounds. You saw the Titans, Cedric Benson, Dontrell Hilliard. Are either of them as good as Derrick Henry? No, they're not. But they had several 200-yard game rushings with Derrick Henry out. They were able to replace his production. When A.J. Brown went out, they were never able to replace that production fully. And so that was why it's so hamstrung the Titans whenever A.J. Brown would be hurt, because they couldn't replace that production. When your quarterback gets hurt, you cannot replace that production. And so that's what it's about. It's about the ability to replace the production at a lower cost. And unfortunately for these guys, we're in an era with a lot of really talented guys, some who don't even make rosters, that can carry the football.
That was Corey Curtis earlier this morning, and I think he was talking about Deontay Foreman when Derrick Henry was out. But, just that right there. So Derrick Henry in 8 games that season, this was the 2021 season, had 937 yards, 10 touchdowns. Deontay Foreman had 566. Dontrell Hilliard had 350. You also have Jeremy McNichols that added 156. I mean, to his point, I get it. But at the same time, we all know what Derrick Henry means to the Titans. We all know how special Derrick Henry is, and that's the point that Derrick and a lot of these guys are trying to make of, yeah, you can replace our production, but it takes multiple guys. But the problem is they can get, Deontay Foreman, Dontrell Hilliard, Jeremy McNichols, and even Adrian Peterson that year, those guys combined cost less than Derrick Henry. That's the bottom line, and that's the unfortunate part. And it's also a credit to the guys that play that position that are coming up through college and then make it to the NFL, that there's a lot of talented guys playing running back.
It reminds me a lot of when in the NFL, a lot of coaches started weeding away from the fullback position.
Yeah.
This is almost, I wouldn't say spit image identical, but, if you look at the fullback position in current football today, it's more of tight ends are filling in at that position, or H-backs, as some may call them. The game is evolving from more of the pass-catching capabilities, not towards the run game, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, and tight ends. Think about how much the tight end has changed. Tight end is now kind of a hybrid position between the traditional tight end, wide receiver, and in some cases running back / fullback. You use the H-back. There are guys that will line up their tight end, but they'll line up where the fullback used to be and can catch it, can block, can do all those things. It's just how the game has evolved, and I think guys have to understand that. But, yeah, to your point, I think the traditional fullback does not exist. Lorenzo Neal, who's one of my favorites, who should be in the Hall of Fame. He's one of the best fullbacks of all time. His position does not exist. The tight end position that Mike Ditka played is completely different from the tight end position that Frank Wycheck played, which is also completely different than the tight end position that Chikakonkwo plays. It's the evolution. The problem is the evolution with running back is resulting in there's too many of them, and therefore they're not getting paid like some of the other positions. And unfortunately for them, I don't think it's ever going to change. Because if I'm the league, looking at, playing devil's advocate, looking at it from both sides, if I'm the league, I'm going, well, you're great and we love you, but no, sorry. What are you doing to set yourself apart other than the production that you have, when I can go get that with 3 guys that I pay less than you?
You're right. I mean, if you look at all these franchises now, they do 3 to 4 years of their current running back and then go to the draft and snag a guy in the second round. Unfortunately, it's not the first round talents that you see anymore. I mean, don't get me wrong, fantasy-wise, yes, but I mean for actual.
Yeah, they're not going in the first round.
No.
Not many.
Like, if you look really in the grand scheme of it all, they go second round for the fact of a shorter contract. Teams, if they want to re-up with them 1 more year, 2 more years, they could do that. But if they don't want to do that, they can say, sayonara, go sign with another team in the NFL. And then that's where you get the second hand. Maybe this guy actually has a breakout season on another team, or maybe they do re-sign him. And that's the unfortunate thing about the NFL.
I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs went 12th overall this year. Was there another running back drafted first round? I can't remember.
I don't know if Bijan Robinson with Atlanta was first round or not. He was a podium guy.
Yeah, he was. So those two.
Yeah.
But I mean, how many receivers go first round, or defensive backs or pass rushers, quarterback? I mean, it's
unfortunate for the running back position.
It sucks. I hate it. I hate it. Like, let me be honest. I hate it because, like, again, I can sit here and everybody that's lived here longer than 5 minutes knows the Tennessee Titans have nothing over the last few years if 22 is not there. Like, nothing. Even if you can sit here and you can go, you have 3 guys that replace that production. I get it, but you have those 3 guys that replace that production. Then, if that is how you did things consistently for the last 5 years, they're not going to the AFC Championship game. We're not sitting here complaining about Tannehill throwing 3 interceptions in a playoff game because the way this offense was designed, it was centered around Henry, and teams respected Henry. They're not doing that for Deontay Foreman. So no disrespect to Deontay Foreman, but he's not that guy. That's why this sucks. And so, like, I get it. I understand why it's happening, unfortunately, but it still sucks. We'll talk more about this with Jonathan Hutton from Outkick, Hot Mike with Hutton and Withrow. He joins us next. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
The sports talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Junie Riddle,
the guy that can come in and give us some good goal-scoring production.
And Nick Keiser,
another guy that I thought was interesting that got a 1-year deal.
Each Saturday morning at 9, it's Riddle and the Reporter on 102.5 and 106.3, The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
All right, boys and girls, we are changing the game. Help your bets stay hot this summer with Superbook Sports, my official sports book. I love it, the most trusted name in sports betting with a direct line to Las Vegas. Football season is just around the corner. You need to get signed up and download that Superbook Sports app. And when you do, use the promo code CHASE, and you can score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 simply by using my name in the promo code, which is CHASE, C-H-A-S-E. Download the Superbook Sports app, enter that code CHASE to get that $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. And like I said, football right around the corner. Pro football, college football, they have futures up. Whether you're looking for MVP, it doesn't matter. It's right there at the palm of your hand. Visit Superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Baseball fans, your home for the best baseball action is 102.5 The Game and 94.9 The Fan with the ESPN Game of the Week and the Nashville Sounds. It's all brought to you by Superbook Sports, the #1 sports book in Vegas. Download the Superbook app today.
20 years ago, when Genesis Diamonds came to Nashville, this was one of the most expensive cities in America for diamond jewelry. Our radical approach and no middleman pricing changed that forever. And now we're doing it again, this time with lab-grown diamonds. We were shocked to find out what the other mall stores and the other big radio advertisers were charging. They sell their platinum 4-carat VS2 lab-grown earrings for $15,720. We sell them for $6,900. Their 3.08-carat lab-grown round diamond with G-Color VS2 clarity is $10,045. We sell it for $5,900. Looks like they might be going back to the old ways. If they're charging this much on lab-grown diamonds, kind of makes you wonder what else they're selling at the same outrageous markup. Nashville, we are not going backwards. At Genesis Diamonds, our non-commissioned trusted advisors are here to give you all the information with details you can trust and prices you can count on. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Park. That's where my summer happens.
It's where my family's come for generations for great times.
It's where amusement rides and water park slides are just my size.
It's where my friends and I have a blast on the big thrill rides.
It's where we can do all the attractions and not spend time in long lines.
Enjoy classic amusement rides for the whole family, plus Splash Lagoon Water Park with slides from mild to wild. Right now, save $10 off general admission with Wendy's coupon or online promo code. Visit beachbend.com.
Nashville's Best Deals is a great place to save cash fast. Get up to half off or more on dining and entertainment at thegamenashville.com/deals. Check back often for new featured deals and save money now at thegamenashville.com/deals.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately, helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It's the latest social networking thingy.
We are all over social media. Follow us on Twitter at 1025thegame. You can follow me at ChaseOnGame. Also on Instagram at 1025thegame Nashville and at the Chase McCabe. See, aren't we cool?
Chase McCabe on 1025 and 1063 The Game.
Chase McCabe Show, 1025, 1063 The Game. Tune into 1025 and 1063 The Game for weekly driver interviews leading up to the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, presented by Lincoln Techs, NADC, and the Nashville Sheriff. The Big Machine Music City Grand Prix will be 3 days of racing, 3 days of music, and one huge weekend event. Go to musiccitygp.com for tickets and get ready to experience Nashville's premier speed and sound event on August 4th through the 6th. Really looking forward to that. Also looking forward to our conversation with Jonathan Hutton. Outkick. Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow is the show. 2 to 5 weekdays on 94.9 The Fan. Hutton joins us now. What's up, Hut?
Chase, good morning. Thank you for moving this up a bit. It got me out of a meeting, so it's a great way to start the Monday.
I am here to help you, and to be 100% honest with you, it was so John McClain could join me at 10:30, and I know how much John McClain means to you. So
yeah, no doubt. He could have done back-to-back hours if he wanted to. But not have my feelings hurt whatsoever.
You've obviously seen running backs over the years. There's obviously a pretty good running back that plays for the Tennessee Titans, but it seems that they're all banding together right now. They had this Zoom over the weekend that included Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, Christian McCaffrey, and basically looking at the position as a whole and if it is devalued. And my take on it is it's not necessarily devalued. It's simple supply and demand, and teams look at it as, even though there are special backs like with the one that is in Nashville with Derrick Henry, but you can replace that production because there's a lot of talent out there. How do you view this, and do you ever see it changing?
Well, the Zoom. First off, the producers that we're discussing, namely Saquon Barkley, when healthy, Josh Jacobs in a contract year, Derrick Henry in a year, Austin Eckler is severely underpaid compared to his production. And, Christian McCaffrey is the highest paid per year and is as dynamic as they come when healthy. And I think the when healthy is the caveat here for the position that, with the wear and tear, the money's not going to be there based on the salary structure and the domination that the players allowed the league to have, allowed the owners and the general managers of the teams to have when they negotiated the collective bargaining agreement. I agree with what the top of the class is saying in regards to the pay structure. They don't look at it this way but they did this to themselves, just like they'll do it again when they negotiate. And here's why. It's not out of spite. It's not out of, not looking out for the player. The veterans look out for the veterans. And here's what I mean, Chase. When they renegotiated the collective bargain agreement, this was back whenever Kevin Mawai was the NFLPA president, and DeMaurice Smith, this is 2011. What they did up until then, the rookies would come into camp and hold out. The rookies would come into camp and get massive signing bonuses. They would get big time contracts, and the veterans got pissed off because the rookies were making more than the vets. So what they do in the next CBA negotiation, there are two areas that were completely ignored. Kids in college. The veterans in the NFL aren't going to negotiate on behalf of the kids in college, and they're not negotiating on behalf of the agents. And why I say that is a lot of the agents now, the top tier agents that have the top players, they're like first round guys, they are waiving their 3% on the first contract because the first contract is slotted now. There's really not a lot to negotiate. And what they want is that second deal. So the veterans got theirs, and what it did is it flipped a bit on that, paired with the new rules and how they've tweaked things to be more of an offensive league. It's much more difficult on an island as a corner and they're protecting the quarterback now. They're not protecting running backs, they're protecting quarterbacks. All of that paired together has led to where we are, where, you've got Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs not wanting to sign their franchise tag. They eventually will, because it's $10 million guaranteed. Saquon would be giving up over $590,000 per game if he sits out in any game. Right now, they're not going to get fined because they're technically not under contract. They haven't signed. So they're not going to get $50,000 a day on a fine for missing camp, but it's going to be perceived that they're disgruntled. They're disgruntled. There's just nothing they can do about it. And if they're on the Zoom call, I think partially that was admitted. And then the other thing was, we need our agents to go to bat for us. Well, the agents aren't going to do anything when their hands are tied based on the rules that were agreed upon by DeMaurice Smith and by the NFLPA, which continues to be the weakest among the PAs in pro sports in America.
Which is unbelievable, that statement you just made. But it's 100% true.
It is unbelievable, but also keep in mind, like, they're getting more than what they had. So that was the power that they were going into and up against. And there's still a ton of money that is being raked in. And some teams do pay running backs. It's just not every team. Every team pays for the most part. Every team's going to pay a wide receiver. Every team's going to pay a quarterback, even if they're not that good. You're going to pay a corner. You're going to pay some of the top tackles. Running backs further down that list now, and Derrick Henry is the second or third highest paid running back in the league this year, and he's barely on the field on third down. So, and he should be, by the way. This is not me saying I want my best player on the field. Derrick Henry's their best offensive weapon, but he's off the field a lot on third down. And that's just how they choose to use the running back position now compared to the way they did.
Do you think that changes now that they have DeAndre Hopkins, or is it still, you think, going to be status quo and they'll put Spears or whoever out there a guy that can catch the ball out of the backfield?
Yeah, I think with Spears they have an opportunity to be more of a two-back and actually have a threat, because I think there will be opportunities, Chase, and I'm eager to see how they pace him during camp. Him being Henry, there will be opportunities for Spears to be on the field quite a bit, and I wonder if we don't see Spears have series, not just one or two snaps per possession, but series where we see him out there if he's productive. I don't know if I don't know. I doubt it's scripted. I'm not taking Henry off the field on purpose. But if you can get something out of Spears in the passing game that, everyone's talking about, everyone that I've talked to about him, and why you take the risk on a guy that won't admit whether or not he has an ACL. I think there's more use for him than just riding the bench the way we've seen Haskins or pass running backs do the same thing.
Jonathan Hutton is with us from Outkick. So the news comes out Friday that after this entire offseason and talking about Kevin Byard and whether he would take a pay cut and how it was disrespectful to ask him to take a pay cut, he restructures his contract and ultimately takes a pay cut. Now, I know he can get it back there with incentives, but how likely is that? Why do you think we got to this point?
Well, I think they came back to excuse me, Chase, back to the table and did in a different way. Meaning the pay cut earlier, the way it was portrayed to me, a pay cut and the approach is just, hey, here's your number, take it. We need you to take this number. A restructure is moving money around, but the player's still going to get his money. It's either going to be in incentives that are quote unquote likely to be earned, or it's going, like, for instance, next year he has a $4 million roster bonus. Kevin Byard does. Well, if he doesn't get that, he's getting more money. He's either getting traded and he's getting that somewhere else, or he's going to get some money in a new signing somewhere else because he's going to get cut. So he'll get a signing bonus there too. So he's going to get that money next year. Whereas this year, if he just took the signing, I won't be making sense here. If he just takes the pay cut this year, there's no extra money coming in and you're just losing that. So again, the way I would view this is if I'm the player, I want to be restructured and then have a bonus next year if I'm taking the pay cut, or if I'm cut next year because of the roster bonus, I'm going to get some of that money in a signing bonus elsewhere. And that would not have been the case if he takes the cut this year. It's just money he's guaranteed not to make. Now he's got the opportunity to make that money. And again, it's moving money around in his contract, which he's done before. And we didn't hear a whole lot about him doing that whenever they're trying to make room for certain players that came in here, because again, Byard's still getting paid. In the first approach, I don't get the sense that the tone was all about that as much as it was taking the cut. Now it's more player friendly, but still team friendly. If you catch my drift there, and I think Rand Carthon did a nice job of trying to bridge that in what was a weird 3 or 4 weeks where it was just kind of a stalemate out in the open before the owners' meetings back in, what was this, March or May? I believe it was May whenever this all went down.
Yeah, I think it's been going on for a while, and I guess now.
Well, he spoke. Carthon spoke about it in May for the first time, but I think it was right after the draft is whenever this got out.
Yeah, for sure.
Or actually, let me take that back again. Right before, because there was talk that he could be traded during the draft. Remember? So it went on a while.
Players report: Vrabel will speak tomorrow. Training camp is officially here. What is the biggest question on your mind as the Titans open camp?
Yeah, I mean, it immediately goes to Hopkins and Burks, and how fast Tannehill gets a rapport with Hopkins. There have been camps, Chase, where, and I don't blame this mentality, but it just hasn't worked out. There have been camps where they have tried to keep their veterans healthy. You know, it was the Julio Jones camp.
Mm-hmm.
Where they went down to Tampa and they played the backups, and the backups ended up playing the regular season anyway because everyone got hurt. Last year, more veterans played in the preseason. Everyone got hurt. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to the approach. They've got to play these guys. They've got to get in sync. You know, there's kind of there's been this fog over, okay, who is this team all off season? Or is this a team that's looking for 2024, 25 whenever the contracts expire and they're starting to really rebuild and have the new era? Because they've done the same thing in the draft. They drafted a backup quarterback. They drafted a backup running back. They've gone out and signed a free agent. We've seen this before. Okay, what's different? Who is this team? Henry's back. Tannehill's back. Okay, defense should be good. Now they have to gel, and this has to be a group that. And Vrabel does, I think, a good job this time of year of balancing the priority of just staying healthy for September, which is so difficult, but also making sure that you steal reps. You don't have to go full speed, but you can steal reps in a glorified walkthrough that's more of a jog and a full speed type mentality. They've got to get Hopkins in and going, and I think that's a no-brainer. Beyond that, the offensive line, and we're not going to know that until the joint practices. It's like Dylan Radin's his rookie year when he was, moving around and all, OTAs and mini camps. Man, this kid really good, and then they have that joint practice, and no, He was quickly a backup after that. You could tell who's ready and who's not. And I think the focus should be on the center position with Ben Jones not there, and the communication up front. That is pivotal to what everything is going to do or not going to happen for this team, because you can have Henry, you can bring in Hopkins, you can do all these things. Can they protect their quarterback? It comes down to that, and those are the two areas I'm looking for. I think the defense is going to be okay. They're not a huge concern, even though we had the discussion if we're overlooking that area. There's so many questions on offense. We have to overlook defense because we have to find answers there, because that's holding them back, or it did last year. 16 to 18 points a game is pathetic. And it starts up front of the offensive line, and there have been changes. Even guys that they didn't want to have leave that were so crucial, like Ben Jones, are no longer there.
He's Jonathan Hutton from Outkick. Hot Mic with Hutton and Withrow, 2 to 5 weekdays on 94.9 The Fan. Hut, good to talk to you. Appreciate it. Talk next week.
Sounds great. I was with Eddie George last night, and Javon Curse, and Kevin Dyson, a number of other former Titans. They all love the Love You Blue legacy jerseys, throwbacks, whatever you want to call them. I think the NFL's calling them legacy jerseys. They're fantastic. And I'm really looking forward to the two games. And the first home game, not the first home game, but the home game where they'll unveil them, is going to be awesome.
Oh, I think it'll be cool. And I hope they paint the field, Oilers and everything. Just go all out with it. I think it'll be awesome.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a blast. I'm really glad they're doing this. And I like the league's finally, it's like whenever I left the farm, when I graduated high school and went to college, my dad finally went and got the 0-turn mower, to mow. It never happened whenever I was in high school, but soon enough, like immediately 0-turn mower. Finally, the NFL is allowing them to do different helmet colors.
Yeah.
Finally. And that's what makes this uniform, is the different helmet.
100%. We'll talk next week, Hut. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Jonathan Hutton from Outkick, 2 to 5 weekdays on 94.9 The Fan. Coming up next, there was something I saw over the weekend that has to do with soccer that got my attention, and I think it will get a lot of attention. We'll talk about that next. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
The offseason is in full swing, but there's no slowing down ESPN's Teron Davenport.
The flow of information.
He talks the talk.
Spears gives you that guy that can still hit the home run.
And walks the walk.
As a run blocker, he's going to murder a linebacker at the second level.
On everything Titans, TD is on Mondays at 1, Thursdays at 3, Friday mornings at 8, and anytime on the Talkin' with TD podcast. TD is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Hey folks, Joe Rexrode here talking to you about PhD weight loss. Had a goal of 38 pounds to lose. Sitting here at 29 right now, and let me tell you something. It's easy. I feel great. I'm loving the food items they provide, and they can give you up to 85% of your food. No pills, no gimmicks, no other suppressants. And the thing about this program is that it feels sustainable. A big thing for people who want to lose weight, of course, there's a plateau busting program. If you try to lose weight before, you know about the plateau. Eventually, you kind of get to a stall-out situation, and you stop doing it. This is a constant care program. It's designed for you. It's tweaked for you. You have a coach who talks with you weekly. Rachel does a fantastic job of explaining things to me, motivating me, and helping me understand how this all works. You're going to know what's happening to your body. You're getting rid of visceral fat that can do a lot of damage to it. And, of course, like I said, simple and easy, weekly phone discussions, and there's a guarantee. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight at the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. This works, and it's sustainable. Join me down. You won't regret it. Visit myphdweightloss.com.
Hey y'all, it's Courtney with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Warmer months have you working overtime? Be sure to visit Parman Tractor and Equipment for all your New Holland tractor and bush hog needs. Swing by our store at 3570 Dickerson Pike in North Nashville or give our sales team a call. We're now offering 0% financing for 72 months on select New Holland tractors. Get the brands you trust from a local dealer like Parman, always ensuring totally outrageous customer service. Visit ParmanTractor.com for the best deals on equipment, New Holland tractor, bush hog, and more.
The Suit is in the building. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Here it is. Messi! Could it have been any other way? Magnificent!
And it just shows you, man.
Unbelievable. Lionel Messi scoring the game winner the other night in his debut for Inter Miami. I was watching it, and it was like it was one of those things I couldn't turn away from because the anticipation. And I think this is huge for MLS. The fact that you're going to have the biggest star in the sport now in your league. Does Nashville SC play Miami again this year?
They do, but it's in Miami.
Oh,
yeah.
I wanted to. I mean, could you imagine? Like, you wouldn't be able to sniff that place.
I couldn't probably breathe that day. That would be pretty incredible. I didn't grow up a Barcelona fan, but I can easily tell you that Lionel Messi, and anybody can, Lionel Messi is the greatest player to ever play the game.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think so. I mean, is this the most anticipated debut of anybody ever?
I would probably say so, yes.
In like American sports, I guess?
Absolutely. Hands down. I mean, if there's anything that comes close to that, it would probably be David Beckham. Excuse me. David Beckham when he went to LA Galaxy.
Yeah.
Back in the day. That's probably about it. I can't really think of anybody else besides that.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good example. But I mean, my friend Ricky used the perfect analogy to describe this. This would be like LeBron James deciding to leave the NBA and go play in the EuroLeague. I mean, that's kind of what it would be. Max Hurst just walking in like he owns the place. Hi, Max. Wearing a Jorge Posada shirt. What is that? Get that out of here. I mean, it would be similar to that. Like if LeBron left and went and played in another league. That's what Leo Messi did. But it got my attention because we wrapped up you were there. We wrapped up our summer ticket tour broadcasts at Bringles, which was awesome. I was doing the afternoon show with Adam Vingan. So I'm like, I'm going to have a pop after. Sat down at the bar. Rick was there, Sean Ford, our GM. You stopped by, a couple other people, and the game was about to start. They turned it on, and I'm like, oh, this is Messi. And he's on the bench, like he's starting on the bench because this was Leagues Cup, and kind of wanted to, ease him in and everything. And they kept showing him like every 2 minutes. He's just sitting there on the bench, and it's like, okay, when's he coming in? When's he coming in? So I end up I'm like, okay, I got to run home and everything, and so I change locations. I run home, change, go out for the night, and I'm like literally walking to the next place, and it's on. And the game's wrapping up, and I see him line up for the kick, and I'm like, oh, no way, and bam, and it was just like I didn't care. I didn't have a dog in the hunt. I got excited. The whole bar is excited. There was a dude next to me that apparently had a good chunk of change on it that was very excited. And it was just like, this is what they wanted. Because no telling. And look, we can sit here and, for a team like Nashville SC, and they won last night, 2-1, Hani Mukhtar. That was huge that they were able to get the win. But we can sit here and complain about Apple TV Plus and the TV deal. And look, I think for teams like Nashville SC that are still building a fan base, even though I know, well, they sell out and all that stuff, like that's great. You got to get more people other than the ones that are just in your stadium, and not being able to watch on network television or cable is difficult. This is going to help that, because I think there are people that are going to be so intrigued by Messi that they're going to take in the product.
Absolutely. I believe in Messi's contract, he has a little bit of incentive with Apple TV Plus in his contract, just due to the MLS cap and all the above. But, I mean, Messi's goal, getting back to Friday night, Messi's goal was intriguing because the way the ball was placed on the field, it was more in favor of a right-footed free kick taker, and Messi ended up taking it with the left foot. And, I mean, he put it in a spot where mama hides the thin mints, as I would say. It's incredible. The way that he goes onto the field, and he is immediate, just different player. Like, he makes sure everyone around him is actually playing at a better pace. To set up that free kick with Sergio Busquets, who actually played with Messi back at Barcelona, and Jordi Alba, who is another ex-Barcelona player that played with Messi, is coming to Miami. So there's going to be a Barcelona-esque feel in this Inter Miami squad, and I mean, there was a comment made, I want to say roughly a couple years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Luis Suarez said that, and I'm just, paraphrasing, that he wants to enjoy the game at the last stages of his career with Lionel Messi and a bunch of the guys that they play with at Barcelona, because that's what the game is about. The game is about having fun, passion.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it is. So that you're about to see a lot of fun and passion come out of Lionel Messi.
As I mentioned, Nashville SC won last night 2-1 over the Rapids. But I can tell you that there will be more Messi talk on this show, because I was intrigued. And great players like that will draw you in. No doubt about that. Coming up next, I heard a question on Robbie and Rexrow this morning that had me going, when I was listening. We'll discuss that next. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
The team at Mercedes-Benz of Music City have done it again. Here's Edwin Vickery to explain.
4-time recipient of Best of the Best. Less than 10% of the dealers in the country receive this award. How did you do it? We say culture eats strategy for lunch, because we can strategize all we want, but unless you have the right culture and chemistry in the dealership, it will not work.
Live the dream at Mercedes-Benz of Music City, mbofmc.com.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
All of us at 102.5 and 106.3 The Game want to recognize our active military, veterans, first responders, and educators with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
This is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Now, your Game Center update.
This is Nick Keyser. Nashville SC broke their 6-game losing streak last night against the Colorado Rapids, winning 2-1 with goals from Hani Mukhtar and Jacob Schaffelberg. Head coach Gary Smith weighed in on the win after the match.
We have to look internally at ourselves and start to decide what are we going to be, what do we want to be, and how are we going to get there. And I thought tonight we just slowly but surely started to turn in that positive direction. The result was very, very important, I think, emotionally for all of the group.
And over the weekend, Sal Frelick made his MLB debut after playing 40 games with the Nashville Sounds. Frelick was the 6th player over the last 25 seasons with 3 hits and a game-winning RBI in his major league debut. And the Tennessee Titans training camp begins this week. Prior to the regular season, we'll have coverage from practice right here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
For more, follow us on Twitter at 102.5 The Game or visit thegamenashville.com. Live from the Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
And a score!
You can run different offenses.
The doors on the board.
Off the field, on the field.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Nashville.
The suit is in the building.
Acknowledge me.
Are you ready? Ready? This is Chase McCabe on Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Chase McCabe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hit us up, 615-737-1025. Our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Titans training camp. It is here tomorrow. We'll be there later in the week. Really looking forward to that and being back out at what's it called now? Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park. And hearing what Mike Vrabel has to say and the different players, seeing DeAndre Hopkins. I mean, when are they announcing him? Have they announced him? Have they even done that yet?
Not yet, but I do believe they will eventually. It's got to, at some point, and maybe, Chase, they might do what you said the other day. Just unveil him in the Oiler uniform. That'd be phenomenal.
Yeah, that would be fantastic. So let's go ahead and get that done. But I heard a question this morning on Robbie and Rex Road when Corey Curtis from News 2 was on with them. And we've discussed this. We've gone down this road, especially with the veteran players on this team. But is this the last year of the window? Is this the last year of this core group? And the core group includes guys like Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard. Those are the big three, just to name a few. And I believe it was Rex Road that asked this question to Corey about Ryan Tannehill.
Well, then, so tell me right now, Ryan Tannehill is a starting NFL quarterback in 2024, yes or no?
Wow, that's a really, really good question. I'll say yes. I'll say he'll start somewhere next year.
I think I would do the same thing. I don't know where, but I think I would make the same choice. Yeah.
Yeah, because stuff always changes every year. There's always a team where you don't think they've got an opening, but they do the next year. And so, it could be with the Titans next year. You don't know. Maybe it's with Tampa Bay next year. They're hardly settled. So there's a lot that can happen there. And, I think he's going to have a decent year. So I would think he'd get a shot somewhere.
That was Corey Curtis from News 2 saying that he thinks he'll be a starter somewhere. Could be here, could be elsewhere. Here's what I think. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be the starting quarterback next year for the Tennessee Titans. That's what I think. Because they signed DeAndre Hopkins to a 2-year deal. Traylon Burks, in theory, is going to just get better. Chikakonkwo, in theory, is just going to get better. And I do think the offensive line, albeit not fixed, is improved. We'll see what happens at right tackle, but I mean, I surely it's better than it was last year. So if this offense is improved, and this offense is going from 17 points a game to, let's say, 24 points a game, then I would say you're probably a playoff team, especially if the defense can hold their end of the bargain and carry their weight. So if you're back in making the playoffs, and let's say they win the division, and I don't know how far they go, they win the division, wouldn't you kind of look at, even though you might be in the same position that you have been for the last 4 or 5 years, where you're just getting into the dance, wouldn't you probably run it back?
As much as I want to say yes, I'm going to say no. I do think the Titans probably need to move on from Tannehill after this season.
Why?
Due to the fact that if you have all these assets that you're trying to win a Super Bowl with, and yes, Tannehill was a part of that core, it does come to a point where you have to, sometimes love-hate relationships have to end at some point.
Sure.
And I feel like after this season, that is probably where I would draw the line. I personally do not think he should be a starting quarterback for the Titans next year. It just doesn't look in the cards for me.
So you think that Will Levis would be an upgrade then?
I mean, yes. After what everybody's been talking about, we traded up for him into the early second round. That has to be the future, so might as well start it while you can.
I mean, and I hear you, but my thing is, what proof do you have? I mean, he's a guy that at one point in time was projected to potentially be a top 2 pick and falls to the second round for whatever reason. You're right. They ended up trading up to go get him, but he still fell back. And so I have concerns. And I think a lot of people have concerns of, okay, what does that mean? Malik Willis, while he might be improved, they've kind of looked at him as, all right, he might not even make the team now, and they acquired him a year ago in the 3rd round. I just think there's a ton of uncertainty. Now, we could have some, maybe a better idea of what Levis is going to look like at this level, through training camp in the preseason, because he's going to play a lot in the preseason. I don't anticipate – I'm kind of with Hutton that I think they've been a little he didn't say these exact words, but, I felt like where he was going was they've been a little too careful with guys. I'd like to see Tannehill get a little bit of work in the preseason, especially with Hopkins. I doubt he will, but I'd still like to see it. But you're going to see Levis and Willis a lot. And so maybe we'll see Willis in game action and go, okay, this is working, but it's still preseason. So, I mean, there's not to me, you're not going to be able to go, oh, yeah, okay, he's ready. Now, if they are solely on the same plan that Andy Reid was, that was like, hey, Alex Smith is going to start this year, and then by hook or by crook, Patrick Mahomes is the starter in year 2. If that's what they're doing, then okay, they've made up their mind. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're going to be too tempted to go, we're right there with it with this group. Let's run it back. And the only change, I would say of the 3, of Tannehill, Byard, and Henry, and I think I've changed my tune on this, I'd say Henry's probably the least likely. And then Tannehill and Byard, could both be back. A lot of time will pass. I mean, there's a lot of time.
Let me clarify my statement earlier about Tannehill not being the quarterback next year for the Titans. Here's the if and the theory. If we see Will Levis come out this preseason, come out guns a-blazing, looking decent, looking pretty good. If his passing percentage is over what? I'm going to say 65%. That's a plus. Now, if he goes into the second preseason game, has a little bit of a lackluster performance up and down, yeah, that's where I'd have a little bit concerned and maybe have that thought of, yeah, maybe Tannehill does come back next year. For me personally, it's all about how Levis kind of does in the preseason. I mean, you'll be there at training camp, so you'll see eye for eye what he is in person, but for me, it's going to have to come into the preseason and see what he does.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's going to have to show me a lot. That is for sure. Ken in Waverly says, I don't think they will dump all three in 1 year. I think Tannehill stays this year and next. So he's kind of with me. Well,
I'm talking about 2025 as well, or
no? I think he means like this season and then next season.
Gotcha.
I mean, he's here this season. We know that. I mean, he just did the uniform unveiling. So
can't let him go now.
And that's what I wonder if that was on purpose. But Tannehill, Henry, and Byard were all a part of that. I thought that was and then obviously Simmons. That makes the most sense. But certainly interesting, and I thought it was a good question, and now it kind of opens the door for the questions going into training camp. And there was another one that came up this morning, so thank you, Robbie, Joe, and Corey, that got me thinking, and that is on Derrick Henry, and it ties into our whole running back discussion. We'll get into that next. Also, take your phone calls and text 615-737-1025 here on the Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
When it comes to Nashville sports,
locking up Jeffrey Simmons, clearly that was a priority for them.
He knows his stuff.
A little bit good, a little bit bad.
And knows how to push the right buttons.
He's coming off an ACL tear, and he's 25 years old, so you cannot ignore that.
Join Outkick's Chad Withrow every Friday at 5 with Stillman and Company. Withrow.
What I hate more than anything is people that are phony and not true to themselves.
Is on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The FedEx Cup playoffs start in Memphis at the FedEx St. Jude Championship. Come out to TPC Southwind August 9th through the 13th and watch the PGA Tour's top players battle to make it through Memphis. Enjoy Memphis at its finest with specialty cocktails, local eats, a vibrant atmosphere, and much more. 2 kids 15 and under admitted free with a ticketed adult. Daily grounds and upgraded tickets are available now at FedExChampionship.com.
Did you know about 50% of youth report vaping in Nashville? Half of our youth are vaping both marijuana and nicotine products. Adults can make a difference. It's time to come together to help our young people. Visit NashvilleThrivesTN.org. That's NashvilleThrivesTN.org. It's back to school time! Check out the Stars Nashville Thrives tent at the Back to School event in Madison on Saturday, July 29th from 3 to 6 at the El Patron Event Center at 709A Rivergate Parkway in Goodlettsville.
Oh yeah!
And in Nashville on Sunday, July 30th from 12 to 3 at Coleman Park, 384 Thompson Lane. You better get there early. There will be school supplies on a first-come basis. Bring your unused medications and safely dispose of them in the drug take-back box to keep them out of the hands of our youth. Visit NashvilleThrivesTN.org to learn more. That's NashvilleThrivesTN.org. That's NashvilleThrivesTN.org. This project is funded under a grant contract with the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration.
Parman Energy is your one-stop petroleum solution across all of Tennessee, offering turnkey petroleum solutions for professionals in major industries, serving trucking fleets, construction companies, industrial plants, and more. Whether a large corporation or owner-operator, Parman Energy has your diesel fuel, lubricant, DEF, and equipment needs. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman. Visit ParmanEnergy.com for more info. Your Tennessee petroleum solution, providing totally outrageous customer service.
Hey, Goodlettsville, get ready because your new favorite pizza spot just opened off Long Hollow Pike. It's Haley, and Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years, but they're spreading the love to Goodlettsville, and it's the most delicious pizza I've ever had. And once you've had it once, you'll want to keep going back. I speak from experience. It's made with love, and it's very different from your average fast food pizza. It's not greasy. It's not too much. Calabria is authentic, scratch-made, hot and crispy, and I haven't had any other pizza like it. Calabria has a great variety, too. They have salads, appetizers, calzones, desserts, and a full bar in their restaurants, too, complete with an impressive list of handcrafted cocktails. For a date night, a family gathering, a night out with your friends, I would recommend Calabria anytime, no matter what the occasion is. I could go for an Italian meat lover's pizza with a glass of Merlot just about any time. And if that's what I'm craving, then it's Calabria every time. Life's too short to eat bad pizza, so come join the family at Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria with 2 locations in Mount Juliet and now open in Goodlettsville.
Hey, Ray Jeter here with Harness. Are you an experienced superintendent, project manager, foreman, or estimator? Do you possess a unique perspective that sees problems as valuable opportunities? We are an excavations and site utilities contractor. We are actively seeking skilled superintendents, project managers, foremen, and estimators who embrace challenges with a positive mindset. If you embody this mindset, apply today at selectharness.com. Harness LLC, build people, move dirt.
The game text line is driven by Wilson County Hyundai. Online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Be a part of the conversation. Call or text the game at 615-737-1025.
The suit is in the building.
3-hour lunch, 3-hour lunch, 3-hour lunch.
3 hours. Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Corey, Derrick Henry, 1,665 yards away from 10,000 for his career. Can he get that this year?
You know, it was funny because I'm not big on the throwback uniforms and sticking it to Houston and all that. I mean, you can stick it to Houston a million different ways. The uniforms I really don't care about, but I thought the oil Derrick thing was pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Just to say that to me. Can Derrick Henry get 1,600 yards this year? That's almost 100 yards a game. Gosh, I don't expect him to get the volume that he got last year, but I still expect his volume to be pretty good. So again, you're asking me to gamble. Like if I had to go over,
this is a big gambling theme.
Over under 1,600. You know what? Just based on his age, I'm going to go under. That doesn't mean I don't think he can do it, but if you're asking me to wager, I'm going to wager under.
Corey Curtis this morning on Robbie and Rex Road. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hey, Titans training camp is coming up. Tune in to this show and Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace this Wednesday and Friday. We'll be live from Titans training camp. Player interviews, latest updates with Titans practices as the team preps for the 2023 season. Training camp is presented by the Simmons Bank Open and Parman Energy. So looking forward to being out there coming up Wednesday and Friday. Can Derrick Henry get 1,600 yards this year? I'm going to say no. I am going to lean under on that because I'm basing that solely on the numbers because he's only hit 1,600 for a season once in his career, and that was the 2,000-yard season. In 2019, he was at 1,540. Last year, he was 2 yards shy of that at 1,538. And he did it. He needed more carries. I guess it was 46 more carries to get to 1,538 than he did in 2019 when he did it on 303 to get to 1,540. So I'm going to say slightly under. But if there were ever a guy, I was thinking about this. If there was ever a guy that could just prove us all wrong and make us eat our words and make us go, well, shame on me for doubting this guy, I think it would be Derrick Henry. That he is that much of a freak athlete and works hard and is just, that productive of a player that at 29 years old, he could look at all of us and say, hold my beer, and go and rush for 1,700 yards. When we all think he can't.
It's coming down to the fact of game plan and scheme, because if you look at Derrick Henry's stats in 2020, that guy was roughly getting about 40 touches a game.
Mm-hmm.
And so, when you're going to go for 1,600 to 2,000, you need that production. Will the Titans go for that production this year? I don't think so. I'm saying more in the 1,200 range.
I think he's going to be – you say 1,200. Interesting. I think it's going to be more 1,300, 1,400. I think that, 349 carries, probably not. I think he's going to have less than that. But because based on the offense and the evolution of the offense. But, it does another year removed from the injury, the offseason work, does he have a little bit of that burst back? That's going to be the thing. Because if he can break a couple of home runs, then that changes things. So I think that could certainly factor in with Derrick Henry that, that could get him to a higher number, if he's able to kind of break through and have a couple of those big chunk plays like we've seen him do, in the past. But I found the question to be interesting because it ties into the running back market in general that, if Derrick Henry does, a freak thing and he's anywhere from a 1,300 to 1,500 yard rusher this year, he's in a contract year, do the Titans pay him, or what is the market for him? I mean, I still think if he has that kind of production, there's not going to be a huge market because they're not going to look at the production. There are going to be teams that look at, he's 30. And they think that as much of a freak athlete as he is, he's gotten beat up so much that it's going to fall off and it's not going to be worth it to us to pay him this kind of money. That's what, unfortunately, I'm afraid is going to happen, and that's this whole conversation.
Yeah, you might have hit it right there on the nose, but if Derrick Henry does have any juice to his method, it's definitely going to be this year. After all this running back saga with the Zoom call and whatnot, I wouldn't be surprised if he does come off and, like you're saying, 13 to 14, maybe even 1,500 yards. But I'm going to stick with my guns here and go around 1,230, 1,250.
I think he has the mentality of y'all about to F around and find out. Like that's honestly, and I love that. Like for the Titans, that's big. And the other thing too is with the state of the running back market, and let's say he does ball out, that if that happens, then I think that the Titans honestly could end up getting him again because he might get the best deal if he stays here because they know him. Now, I still think he's going to, in his mind, financially probably be undervalued, but he might get the best deal here rather than going to market because, then the other teams are just going to go, well, he's 30. Like, we're not going to get that guy. Like, he probably used it all up. They're going to look at it that way. I don't know. 615-737-1025. Jared wants to weigh in on our phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com on Derrick Henry. Jared, welcome in.
Hey, buddy. How y'all doing?
Good.
That was great. I appreciate y'all taking my call, but first of all, I want to say y'all are totally wrong about Derrick Henry. He didn't play all of last year, and he still was in the top two-thirds of the NFL in rushing. And I know their Titans are looking towards having a passing type attack this year, and you're thinking, well, that's going to take away from his rushing. No, it's going to add to it because they're going to have to double team, Hopkins and so forth, and Henry is going to have a banner year. He's not only going to rush over 1,600 yards, he may hit close to 2,000 yards. And why I'm saying this all is because he's rested up Derrick Henry. He's not a beat-up, battered 16-game Derrick Henry, and he's out to prove something. But like I said, he's still in the top two-thirds of the NFL, and I just want to hear y'all's comments back on it. A lot of the callers had different points of view on it, but I'm telling you, y'all are totally wrong. This totally wrong. This guy is a stud, and he's going to be there for a while. And, when it comes time to trade, they're going to get big bucks out of him if they do get the money for him. But I'm just telling you right now, he's rested up Derrick Henry, and Hopkins that came to Tennessee is not only going to boost his rushing performance, it's going to boost the Titans, period, because they're going to have to double-team Hopkins, like I said, and all of a sudden, look out, Derrick Henry gone.
Thanks for the call, Jared. Appreciate it. Well, he played 16 games last year. He just missed the one game against Dallas because that game meant nothing, so they sat a bunch of guys. Byard was the only one. Because with he's rested up, he had 349 carries last year, 378 the year he went to 2000, .303 the year he went to 1540. Now, granted, and I've made this point before, in college he only had really the 1 year that he was used a whole lot, and then his first 2 years in the league he shared carries with DeMarco Murray, so there was a lot of tread on the tires, and then they've just, the last 5 years he's gotten a ton of carries. I mean, he was on pace for probably 400 the year he got hurt and played 8 games. He had 219 for 937 in 8 games. So I don't know if I can go with rested up Derrick Henry. I mean, look, I sat here and, I'm giving him praise. I just don't think he's going to be 1538 or 1,600 yards. That was the question. I still think 13 to 14, maybe even 15 isn't crazy, but, I got to see it too. I mean, he's a freak athlete, but he's 29 years old. Father Time is undefeated. So what does Father Time have to say about a freak athlete? I don't know. Right. I got to see it.
Jared DeCaller made a good point about DeAndre Hopkins. He is going to get double teamed from time to time. It will open the box up for Derrick Henry. So, yes, he will have some of those flashes of Derrick Henry of old. But I'm still holding my guns here. It's still around the 1,200, 1,300 range.
We'll see for sure. We'll ask John McClain his thoughts on DeAndre Hopkins and what DeAndre Hopkins can bring to the offense and do for Derrick Henry, and I'm sure we'll get his thoughts on the Oilers uniforms as well. He joins the show next here on the Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
If it's important to Nashville,
I'll put it out right now.
It's important to Jared Stillman.
Like, that's it.
He's not afraid to ask the tough questions.
Something is going on, and the question is, what does it mean?
Or give the strong opinion.
And just needed the bozo offensive coordinator to stop ruining the quarterback.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
My student organization was suspended from campus for criticizing the Chinese government. We knew our free speech rights were being violated. That's why we teamed up with the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. FIRE launched a full-scale campaign. They talked to the media, sent letters to the school's president, and put billboards up around campus telling our story. That's what FIRE does. They defend everyone's right to free speech. Defend free speech at thefire.org.
Paid for by thefire.org.
Nashville is growing, but we remember our roots here.
The fairgrounds, my family and I have so many memories there. It is full of history, it is full of culture, and it is full of Nashville.
There are some folks who want to tear down our historic fairground speedway.
When you do that, you lose part of your story.
Don't tear it down, make it better.
I'm not necessarily a racing fan, but it's a part of the fabric of the neighborhood.
When you lose something, guess what? It doesn't come back.
Don't take away my history.
Let's make sure we don't lose another piece of what makes our city so special.
Tuning into the baseball game, monitoring the incoming storm, catching your favorite talk show. These are just a few of the reasons more than 80 million Americans depend on AM radio each month. And did you know AM radio is the backbone of the emergency alert system, keeping us safe in dangerous times? It's reliable, free, and public safety depends on it. Text AM to 52886 and tell Congress we need AM radio in cars. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
Nashville's best deal of the week is Joyland in East Nashville. Joyland is a fun new concept by celebrity chef Sean Brock, inspired by his love for cheeseburgers, shakes, buttermilk biscuits, fries, and fried chicken. Get half off a $30 gift card at thegamenashville.com/deals and enjoy the best burger in town. Find some joy today and eat Joyland for half off with Nashville's best deal of the week. That's thegamenashville.com/deals.
Hey, do you need to listen on the go? Download the Game Nashville app from your app store today, and you can listen to us anywhere in the world. It's that simple. What an age we live in.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Here in our Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical Studios on this Monday. Talking Titans and the NFL training camp opening up. He's a legend. We love having him on the show. John McClain joins us now. Does some writing for sportsradio610.com. Hello, John. How are you?
Chase, I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing fantastic. Thanks so much for doing this. And I will start with the big one because I've been waiting for this to happen so I can get your thoughts on it. But the Titans did make it official. They unveiled the Oilers uniforms last night with Derrick Henry, Ryan Tannehill, Kevin Byard, all in that Columbia blue. They look fantastic. But there's always going to be a debate. Do they belong here with the franchise that they were part of, or do they belong in Houston? What were your thoughts on the uniforms?
Well, first of all, there's no debate. Everything involving the Houston Oilers belongs to the Tennessee Titans. A lot of fans and media here can't get that, just don't understand it. And it's interesting to me, and I'm going to be writing a column for SportsRadio610.com when Amy makes it official. And what really burns people is the fact they're going to wear the Oilers uniforms against the Texans up there. And the fact of the matter is they got no say here. Bud had it put in writing that nobody could have the Oiler name, nobody can wear the Oiler uniforms except the Oilers. Now, at the time Bud got that, they were the Tennessee Oilers, not the Tennessee Titans. And people here seem to have forgotten that they wore those Oiler uniforms for 2 years, playing in Memphis and at Vanderbilt. And I remember the last game they played at Vandy. I saw Mike Munchak and Bruce Matthews, who had been pillars for the Oilers for a long time, carrying out as much Oilers gear as they could get from that locker room, because everybody knew it was going to change when they got the new stadium and the new practice facility the next year. And so it's a great topic down here because there's so much interest in talk shows, columns, like my station, Sports Radio 610, Texans flagship. They're just going crazy. And I think only one of them was here when all that happened back in 1996, and they moved for the 97 season. So I think it's great. Chase, I've always thought the Titans and Texans should have a better old-fashioned rivalry for obvious reasons, but there were only 2 seasons in which they were good at the same time. And once when it was Jeff Fisher and Gary Kubiak. And remember that game they had up there when they had fights, they had ejections, and it was a great game. And I thought, okay, this rivalry is going to take off. But it never has, because they're not playing for the Super Bowl. They're not playing for home field advantage. They're not even playing for the AFC South title. And until they do, the rivalry will have to be fueled because of the uniforms. And my friends up there, Chase, they don't give a rat's you know what about they think that the Columbia blue are nice-looking uniforms. But to them, I think their throwbacks should be that first year they had the Titans uniforms in 1999, and Bud always insisted would have some Columbia blue in them.
Yeah, that's right. John McClain is with us, and you know, you when you mentioned the fights, Andre Johnson, Cortland Finnegan. I mean, I remember that one. That was, and I was with you. Like, this is finally becoming a thing. It was one-sided for a while. Bud always had the edict of you got to beat Houston. But then the Texans got better, and then the Titans fell off. And so, yeah, I agree. I think if there's a day where they're fighting for the division, and who knows, John, with what the Texans are doing to try and rebuild, maybe it does get to that point soon.
Well, I can tell you this, it ain't going to be this season. Texans are in their 3rd year of their rebuild. And I think with the addition of DeAndre Hopkins, if Hop is healthy, he will make a difference on that offense, and the Titans will be competing with the Jaguars. I'm not sold on Jacksonville as a runaway winner of the AFC South, even though the division is not very good. But remember, in 2017, when they almost reached the Super Bowl, everybody had them as the runaway winner in 18, and they've been terrible ever since. So I think Mike Vrabel is a hell of a coach. He's going to run Derrick Henry as much as he can. Hopkins will help Henry. Hopkins will help Treylon Burks, and he'll help Ryan Tannehill. Now, if they have to go, if Tannehill gets hurt and they have to go with Will Levis, most of the times you don't win with a rookie quarterback. But I believe the Titans will be the team that will be the closest to the Jaguars and could win the division. People seem to forget 2 seasons ago they had home field advantage in the AFC.
John McClain is with us, and I agree with you on what you said about Vrabel. I think my question is, what is Tim Kelly as the offensive coordinator? We saw him, with Deshaun Watson, with Houston, with DeAndre Hopkins. He's got some pieces to work with here, but ultimately, how do you think his play calling is going to help the Titans?
I'm a big fan of Tim Kelly's. Tim came here with Bill O'Brien in 2014. He had been a GA with O'Brien at Penn State. And O'Brien told me early on, Tim Kelly's going to be a head coach in this league. And so Tim started in an office so small you couldn't even change your mind if you had to change something. You had to go outside. Worked his way up to being a play caller. I remember O'Brien called the plays. Fans were livid. They never liked Bill. And when he told us Tim was going to call the plays the next season, people were so excited. He called plays in 2020 for Watson, and Watson had his best season. He was great. Unfortunately, they couldn't stop the run. The rest of the team, they couldn't run the ball, couldn't stop the run, but Watson was great. Tim had a wide-open offense. A lot of times, Kelly, he figured in the game plans and the play calling, and he was connected with O'Brien on the headset on game days. But I think, Mike Vrabel doesn't make a lot of bad moves when it comes to coaching. And he was with Tim for 4 years, watched him grow, kind of like the way Mike grew as a coach. And he had enough confidence in him to make him the play caller. I think Tim will do really well as long as Ryan Tannehill stays healthy. But even with Levis, he'll work well with Will Levis like he worked really well with Deshaun Watson when he was coming up.
John McClain is with us. So looking at the Texans and the quarterback situation, we know that they drafted C.J. Stroud. Is the plan for him to be the day one guy, or is this a little bit of a battle as they go into camp?
They're trying to make everybody think there's competition. Even Stevie Wonder can see they're going to have him as the starter from the get-go. Stroud, they drafted him second overall. They talk about the competition. Give me a bleeping break, Chase. Davis Mills knows Stroud's going to start. Case Keenum knows Stroud's going to start. We all do. I think that one of the things about anointing a rookie is you want that rookie to show the veterans he's good enough to be the guy over the veteran quarterback. Now, the Panthers haven't done that. They just named Young as the starter. I kind of like the way they're making Stroud stand out, so when they do name him, everybody will understand why. Not fans or media, but the players. And they got Will Anderson Jr., who you know very well from the SEC. He's the favorite, along with Bijan Robinson, to be defensive and offensive rookies of the year. People are pumped about him. But this team needs another good offseason in the draft and free agency to be even mentioned in the same sentence with playoffs. But tell you what, the last time they were this fired up about a season with DeMeco Ryans was when Gary Kubiak was brought back home in 2006.
Yeah, so with the backup then, do you think Davis Mills holds on to that job, or is it going to be between Keenum and Mills and then the odd man's out altogether?
They haven't made Keenum a member of this competition. He's like the third quarterback. I almost believe he was signed for his third tour here to be like a coach for C.J. Stroud, because Casey is going to be a coach when his career's over. People who've known him from the University of Houston hope it will be here, either at his alma mater or maybe with the Texans. And so Mills is a really good guy. He'll be gone probably after next season. And he had some big games. Yeah, he had a big game at the end of his rookie year against the Titans. Titans won by 3 here to clinch home field advantage. He's had some good games despite having no running game until they brought in Damian Pierce last year. But Pierce missed almost 5 games, so statistically the running game was not good. But Stroud will inherit a better cast, but it's still not real good.
John McClain is with us talking NFL, Titans, Houston, everything in between. Something that, we were talking about the uniforms earlier that I meant to mention. So yesterday they come out, and we all knew they were going to come out. And I don't know if you ever do this, but there are times where I will immediately think about somebody that is no longer with us and go, oh, I need to ask. And what I did is like, oh, I need to ask Floyd what he thinks. That was just in my head. And obviously we know that Floyd Reese, the late, great Floyd Reese, no longer with us. If you were talking to him today, what do you think he'd think about those uniforms?
I think Floyd is like everybody else who was with the Oilers here. And I'm going to have quotes from Robert Brazil, Dan Pastorini, Warren Moon, maybe Bruce Matthews about what they think about the Titans wearing Oiler uniforms when they play in December. I just wish it were earlier in the season, like in September, before the Texans are out of the race. And Floyd would say what everybody here in the organization would say is they like it. Amy Adams Strunk has treated the Oilers here like kings. They all love Amy. And they're happy that the Titans are going to wear their uniforms. Now, they don't care when they wear them. If the Titans were not going to wear them against the Texans, it wouldn't be that big a deal here. But fans and media feel like they're kind of rubbing it in their face. And I want to say, what's to rub in their face? Houston's business leaders and politicians turned their back on Bud Adams and the Oilers. Couldn't wait to show them the door. They got no say on any of this stuff. But for passion and anger, with people being so infuriated, it just makes for great talk radio, Chase. And, you can't beat that.
Nope, it certainly helps us out for sure. John, thanks so much for doing this. Good to talk to you, and I know we will catch up soon.
Chase, I wanted to say to all your listeners, getting DeAndre Hopkins was a great move. As long as he stays healthy, he only missed 2 games in here in 6 years, and I think the fans are going to love watching D-Hop catch the football and be a member of that offense. Thank you very much, Chase.
Absolutely. Have a good one. John McClain joining us, sportsradio610.com, writes for them and also does some shows, and always awesome to talk to about anywhere from what's going on in the NFL right now to the history, of course, of the Houston Oilers. And I think he's right. I think D-Hop is certainly going to be a nice addition to the Titans, and we will hopefully see him this week as training camp gets underway, and really looking forward to that. Coming up next, what are we expecting to learn? As Vrabel will talk tomorrow, the team's report. What are the Tennessee Titans in 2023? We will discuss that next. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Sometimes it's good to be loud.
This is the NFL.
Especially when you're Jared Stillman.
That's where we are.
He's not afraid to say what's on his mind each and every day.
That was embarrassing. I don't care if you're a rookie. That was embarrassing.
Stillman and Company. Weekdays at 2 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
We are changing the game. Help your bets stay hot this summer with Superbook Sports, my official sports book. You can download that app, have a direct line to Las Vegas, and when you download that app and you sign up, use my promo code CHASE to score up to $250 with their first bet bonus. Win or lose, Superbook will match your first bet up to $250 simply by using my name, Chase, when you sign up in the promo code. They got everything. Week 1 of the NFL already there on the Superbook Sports app. You can check it out. You can vote on. You can bet on who's going to win the big game, the AFC or NFC championships, the division. I mean, let's see. The Titans plus 285 to win the AFC South. The Jags still the favorite at minus 150. It's right there at the palm of your hand with the Superbook Sports app. Download the Superbook Sports app, enter the promo code CHASE, and you'll get $250 courtesy of Superbook Sports. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, Goodlettsville, get ready because your new favorite pizza spot just opened off Long Hollow Pike. It's Haley, and Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria has been a Mount Juliet staple for 7 years, but they're spreading the love to Goodlettsville, and it's the most delicious pizza I've ever had. And once you've had it once, you'll want to keep going back. I speak from experience. It's made with love, and it's very different from your average fast food pizza. It's not greasy, it's not too much. Calabria is authentic, scratch-made, hot and crispy, and I haven't had any other pizza like it. Calabria has a great variety too. They have salads, appetizers, calzones, desserts, and a full bar in their restaurants too, complete with an impressive list of handcrafted cocktails. For a date night, a family gathering, a night out with your friends, I would recommend Calabria anytime, no matter what the occasion is. I could go for an Italian meat lover's pizza with a glass of Merlot just about any time. And if that's what I'm craving, then it's Calabria every time. Life's too short to eat bad pizza, so come join the family at Calabria Brick Oven Pizzeria with 2 locations in Mount Juliet and now open in Goodlettsville.
Hey, what's up? It's Chase McCabe, and I've been telling you about PhD weight loss for a couple months now. I'm down 22 pounds since I have been on the program, and I love it. It's been set up by Dr. Ashley Lucas, obviously a best-selling author. She's put this whole program together, and it is showing results. The thing I like about it is it's custom-made for me. I have a coach, Rachel, that I talk to weekly, and she adjusts the plan for me as I go. 85% of the food is provided. You can use your own food as well, and your coach will help you through that entire process. And that's what I love. Like I said, it's made for me with those customized meal plans. Here's the other part that's awesome. If you don't get within 5 pounds of your target weight by the end of your program, PhD will continue to coach you for free until you do. That is their offer guarantee. So, check it out, myphdweightloss.com. That is the website. You can go and read more about it and sign up. myphdweightloss.com.
For more than 100 years, Lincoln Tech's NADC in Nashville has helped people transform their lives by learning the skills they need to build a brighter future. While the skills, tools, and jobs have changed, one thing hasn't: Lincoln's ability to adapt their auto, diesel, and heavy equipment maintenance programs to meet the hiring needs of America's employers. Put your potential to work and enroll now for July classes at Lincoln Tech's NADC. Visit lincolntech.edu for info and to schedule a campus tour.
Hey home buyers, TJ Anderson here. 6326 Patton Avenue is a new construction home in Nashville's Charlotte Park neighborhood. It offers 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and nearly 2,500 square feet. Features include a 2-car garage, custom walk-in shower, and a private backyard that's fully fenced. Text the number 2 to 615-420-2377 for pricing and info. Want your home on the radio? Google TJ Anderson Homes and see why we are referred by clients so often. TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty. Office number 615-432-2919.
Hey, did you tune in late? It's okay. It happens. You can subscribe to the Chase McCabe podcast wherever you get your podcasts. iTunes, Spotify, doesn't matter. Rate, subscribe, and review today.
Chase McCabe on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A lot of noise saying that the Titans are in a rebuild year.
I don't ever think that in this league. I don't. I'm never going to believe that. I think that our guys will prepare, our guys will fight, our guys will, I think we got a chance to beat anybody.
How do you feel like this roster is different this year than has been, well,
I mean, we had to move on from veterans. I mean, you get to a point where that's what happens in this league. Whether it's me getting traded to Kansas City, going into my 13th year, or having to move on from some players or making decisions. I mean, that's how this thing goes, and everybody's aware of it. So I think that's the first thing. You know what I mean? We've got some veteran players that I've been with for, the 5 years that I've been here that we had to move on from, and other players as well. So I think that's probably the biggest, will be the biggest difference. But there's always change every year.
That was Mike Vrabel on the Bussin' with the Boys podcast with Taylor Lewan and Will Compton last week. Chase McCabe Show, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace coming up next. Caroline with a couple days off, but Willie and Derek will be here with you as we get ready for training camp, and really looking forward to that. Obviously, questions going into the training camp. What are the Titans? I don't think they're in a rebuild by any means. I mean, you just heard John McClain saying that he thinks they're going to challenge Jacksonville for the division, and John thinks similarly to me and a lot of other people that I'm not buying Jacksonville yet. I am not buying what they're selling yet. Got to see it. Obviously we have to see it here with the Titans. We got to see how DeAndre Hopkins fits in. We got to see Tim Kelly's play calling. Surely it's going to be an upgrade over Todd Downing, but we don't know. Tannehill, healthy. How's he look? Is there a chip on his shoulder? I think there will be. Derrick Henry, same thing. But it's all got to come together. And then on the defensive side of the ball, is this secondary, going to be deep enough and good enough? I think there's a lot of intriguing battles going into camp with that. They announced yesterday that Caleb Farley, Dylan Radins will be on the PUP list. I don't even know if we're going to see Caleb Farley in a Titans uniform again. I have no idea. I mean, he's not healthy, and it's sad, unfortunate, all those things. But your best ability is your availability, and he has not been available. I think you go back and you look at that draft pick. That's one of those things that counts against John Robinson, and ultimately why he's not here anymore. But so those are questions that have to be answered. Adam Vingan and I talked a lot about the kicker. I'm worried about the kicker. Right now, until I see it, I'm saying they don't have a kicker. Now, Caleb Shudak, okay, we'll see. He looked okay until he got hurt. Is he the guy? It's a legitimate concern for me that they don't have a kicker. Bullock's still sitting out there. He was an 85% kicker last year. He was 50-50 from beyond 50. You want a guy that's going to make those kicks. The game against the Giants was a big kick. He didn't make it. So you got to find a guy that's going to make those big kicks. I know a few people have been like, bring back Ryan Suckup. I wouldn't at this point. I think he might be done. But so that's a concern. And all these things won't necessarily get answered in the next 5 to 6 weeks, whatever it is, but we'll get a better idea. My big thing is I want to see the offense progress. I want to see, for the love of all things beautiful and whatever, that this team stays healthy. Because if I got to go through another Titan season where we're sitting here going, who the hell is this guy lined up at linebacker because, or safety or what have you, because they can't stay healthy, I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, 2+ years of having to do that. But it's going to be a one day at a time thing when it comes to them.
So with these concerns, Chase, that you've brought up, which of those is going to be one of your focal points going into training camp?
Staying healthy.
Well, I mean, when you're at training camp, what's going to be your focal point to look at with these concerns besides the injuries?
Are
kickers going to be on your list to watch while you're there?
Yeah. I mean, for sure. I'm going to be paying it. So I always pay attention to Henry. I want to see how much work he does. What does he look like? Because, the thing with a running back is you can tell if they got that burst, that little bit of a burst. I want to see that. Hopkins. How does Hopkins work with Burks? How does Hopkins work with Tannehill? How quickly does it take Tannehill and Hopkins to get on the same page? And then with the other receivers, what do the rest of them look like? Now that they're kind of in their role, does Chris Moore make this team? Is he going to be the third or the fourth guy, on the depth chart? Westbrook-Akina, same thing. What is he? That I think is an important battle. Not just now who the top two receivers are. What does everything else look like? Kyle Phillips. Is Kyle Phillips going to be what we kind of think he can be as that third receiver for this team? Is he a 300 to 400 yard receiver and a red zone guy? We don't know. Chig, is he a starting tight end in the National Football League? I'm going to be looking at Chig. Has Chig taken – because, you stand there and you watch practice and, it's what happens in the game, but you stand there and you watch practice, you can tell if a guy's taking big leaps or not, especially from year 1 to year 2. You can see that. I'm really excited about Treylon Burks. I think Treylon Burks has a giant chip on his shoulder, and is gonna come in and really do some things. And I think while DeAndre Hopkins helps him, it motivates him too, because if I'm him and a guy that has, like Derek likes to say, that dog in him, in the back of his mind, he might be thinking like, oh, okay, so you're going to bring him in because you don't think I can do it. I'll watch this. That's huge. And D-Hop has a chip on his shoulder. Oh, the market wasn't very good for y'all. Watch this. Hold my beer.
Yeah, there's a lot of prove-it mentality when it comes to this Titans roster this year. From the sounds of it, from all the stuff that players have said in press conferences and what talk shows talk about. I mean, there is a lot of prove-it mentality for this Tennessee Titans offense and defense this year.
And while he will never admit it, he will never go to the podium and say these words. Mike Vrabel still has that same chip on his shoulder that he had when he was wearing number 50 with the Patriots.
Absolutely.
And then, like he mentioned in the clip we played, getting traded to Kansas City. It was part of the Matt Castle deal. I mean, that pissed him off. He still got that mentality of like, oh, people don't think we're very good. They think we're rebuilding. Watch this. But it's all got to come together.
It kind of reminds me of that Saban mentality we saw at SEC Media Days.
Yeah.
Where he was answering questions. He's like, oh, no, it's that aura of just wait and watch. Things are about to happen. I think that might be what we're seeing here with Mike Vrabel.
Yeah, the swagger was back. Ron says on our text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com, my top 5 worries going into the new season for the Titans: 1, injuries; 2, injuries; 3, left tackle; 4, special teams; 5, kicker. That's pretty good. That is going to do it for us. Thanks for tuning in today. Training camp, it is here. Cannot wait. Willie and Derek will have you covered on that. Caroline with the day off. That is all coming up next. Caroline, Willie, and D-Mace is up next here on 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire